Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. In our top story, the territory addressed issues that have affected Virgin Islanders at the Centennial Transfer Day commemorations that took place on March 31st. However, one day previous to the Centennial, March 30th, 367 government retirees were affected by an attack on GERS. Stephanie Brown reports.
The territory addressed vital issues that will affect Virgin Islanders in years to come at the Centennial Transfer Day commemorations that took place on March 31st. On March 29th, the government employees retirement system issued public statements that there would be a delay in payments for the retirees receiving annuity payments via check. The issued statements further implored that retirees that receive payments via ACH or direct deposit would not experience a delay.
To be very frank, there was a hacking of one of our systems. This occurred previously a few weeks ago where we could not issue vendor checks. It's ransomware is the name of that virus.
Mr. Nibs further informed that retirees that receive payments in the form of checks will receive their money soon.
So the retirees will be paid on April 12th because of the holidays. So the payment will be made on April 12th.
GERS recipients already have strong concerns about their financial future. Governor Mapp exclaimed in his State of the Territory speech that he would submit a plan to prevent the GERS insolvency.
The insolvency of the GERS would cause serious economic hardships on every family and every business in the Virgin Islands. Such an insolvency would seriously hurt our economy. I plan to host public hearings in both districts and forward comprehensive reforms to this body before the end of March of this year.
Ironically, the governor stated that his preventative insolvency plan would be submitted at the end of March, but instead, on March 30th, GERS recipients did not receive their annuity payments. For News 2, I'm Stephanie Shalana Brown.
Be sure to count on 2 to keep you updated. Austin Nibs exclaimed further that the banks in the Virgin Islands worked swiftly to ensure that retirees with direct deposit received payments. However, retirees who received checks had to be manually processed. Well, members of the Committee on Education, Youth and Recreation, chaired by Senator Jean Ford, held a meeting at the Earl B. Otley Legislative Hall today to receive testimony on the status on recreation, sports, and other youth programs in the territory. Here's more.
Challenges at this time is the lack of sufficient personnel to umpire and manage the various sport activities for our youth. And so if we don't have the individuals in place to proper oversee the sporting activities and manage the programs, I'm interested in you telling us, is the issue funding to have these persons, or is it people no longer volunteering?
One last question. Is the Department of Labor hiring?
At this time, we do have a hiring freeze. Again, there are much needed vacancies there that need to be filled, but at this time, we're not hiring.
Donald Trump at a town hall meeting in New York just now, talking to 50 CEOs, just said that he's going to get rid of Common Core. So, Department of Education, be aware. Thank you.
In other news, a number of projects have been implemented under the Danish Ministry of Culture, financed by a special allocation of approximately $435,000 for the VI. Prime Minister of Denmark, Lars Løkke Rasmussen, met on Saturday with selected students at UVI St. Thomas and the President, Dr. David Hall, for a roundtable and to announce a new scholarship that will provide the opportunity for Virgin Islanders to study in Denmark. The scholarship program is slated to begin accepting students in 2018. Here's more. The Prime Minister of Denmark, Lars Løkke Rasmussen, met on Saturday with students at UVI St. Thomas to announce a new scholarship that will provide the opportunity for Virgin Islanders to study in Denmark.
We are ready to invest 1 million Danish kroner per year for the next 5 years.
The news of the country's government giving about $716,000 to fund this scholarship program from 2018 to 2022 is historic news for UVI.
Under your leadership and with the support of your government and country, that we can help to empower these students and empower others will make a difference in the Virgin Islands.
It is also historic news for the Virgin Islands, proving that interaction between Denmark and the VI will benefit all.
It will enable up to 10 young students from USVI to go to Denmark starting next year. Had the most interesting conversation with the president of the university and a nice roundtable with the students, among them 2 Danes, which actually proves that we already have good interaction between Denmark and USVI.
Prime Minister's commitment to trying to strengthen the relationship between Denmark and the USVI will have a concrete reality.
Up to 10 students from UVI will be able to spend a semester studying at a Danish university with living costs and tuition fees covered.
I actually want to study abroad in Denmark because I've always wanted to from high school. So I feel like this scholarship opportunity would be really great to take advantage of in my junior year. And I just want to thank Dr. Hall for bringing the Prime Minister here because he was really amazing.
We do have a history with Denmark, and for him to come here personally, it shows a great passion and a form of great respect to come back to the islands and make the statements that he made. So out of that, as a Virgin Islander, I really respect him and I have a lot of love for him.
Throughout the last couple of years, we've had thousands of people visiting the Virgin Islands with Bravo tours, all Danish people. And this year in particular, the centennial year, there's been a big interest in coming here to see what it's all about. It's very interesting, leaning towards the future, because now we also have interest coming from the Virgin Islands towards Denmark, whereas before I think it's been mostly coming from Denmark to see the Caribbean and see what used to be Danish more than 100 years ago. So now we also have the opportunity for students here in the Virgin Islands to go and see what Denmark is all about. So I think that our bonds in that way are going to be stronger.
It's not only about the scholarship program, it's about the scholarship program as a kind of basis for further cooperation could hopefully lead to a situation where when we celebrate the 100 years anniversary for this university, we will have an even stronger connection.
I believe that it is the beginning of a wonderful relationship going forward. So thank you very much.
Aalborg and Copenhagen University in Denmark already have existing partnerships that may be supported by the scholarship program. The program will run for a period of 5 years. The Prime Minister was accompanied by his wife, Solrun Rasmussen. And as promised, Osbert Potter, the Lieutenant Governor of the Virgin Islands, spoke at the centennial ceremony on St. Thomas, and we want to share some more highlights from that. And he stated that the centennial commemoration symbolizes different things to different people. The Lieutenant Governor expressed that nonetheless, the centennial gave Virgin Islanders the opportunity to address various issues. Here's more.
The disenfranchisement and unequal treatment of the people of the Virgin Islands is to this day de jure law.
But although we share a common past, we have not always shared the same story about that past. Today, the people of Denmark and the people of the Virgin Islands share common historic bonds. And today, finally, we share the same view of history. And today, we share the same heroes. And hopefully, we share a bright future together.
The President has asked me to convey his greetings and read his statement. My warmest wishes as our nation celebrates the 100th anniversary of the transfer of the Virgin Islands from Denmark to the United States. The convention between the United States and Denmark, effective on March 31st, 1917, for the cession of the Danish West Indies, has contributed to the character, the strength, and the vibrancy of the United States of America.
Delegate Plaskett noticed the distinction in policy as it relates to where we live in the territories as American citizens versus living on the U.S. mainland. These observations are only made to note that in the next 100 years, there is much work to do. These observations are made so that the people of the Virgin Islands can recognize that we have to take responsibility and determine the act of self-determination and how we wish to define our relationship with this great nation, the United States of America. And our desire to be full participating members of this nation as citizens with our full rights and privileges are strong. And so I challenge the people of the Virgin Islands as we begin the next 100 years, let's take up the mantle and let's begin to have a serious conversation about self-determination and political maturity.
And keeping our eye on the economy, before we do that, let's take a look at CBS there. The GOP health care plan was supposedly dead, but maybe not. Could the second time be the charm for the Trump administration? Well, the White House is apparently working behind the scenes to make it happen, led by Vice President Mike Pence. But much like the first bill that failed, the devil is in the details. The White House proposes giving states the ability to opt out of provisions that affect coverage for pre-existing conditions, as well as maternity care or substance abuse, removing themselves from the essential health benefit and community rating regulations. That's something the House Freedom Caucus wants, but once again, it may not go far enough to win over their support. And any concessions made to the far right could chip away at support from moderates. Keeping our eye on the economy, let's take a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. According to the numbers there, we can see the Dow up 39, NASDAQ 3, S&P 500 also up at 1. Coming up on News 2, we have much more straight ahead. Be sure to stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The former finance director of the Virgin Islands Community AIDS Resource and Education, Inc. pled guilty on Monday to theft of federal program funds and making a false income tax return. According to court documents, Celeste Bermudez admitted to embezzling more than $5,000 during the period of January 2012 through December 2013. 41-year-old Bermudez of Massachusetts also admitted to making and subscribing a false 2011 income tax return. Bermudez failed to report $135,000 in 2011 income from Vicare. In 2015, an audit of Vicare was performed by the Office of the Inspector General of the Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development, and they determined that the agency mishandled more than $538,000 in federal housing opportunities. Well, here's another update. The Third U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals will consider former Senator Wayne James' arguments regarding a federal fraud case against him when judges come to St. Croix next month. A notice filed in the U.S. District Court of the VI said the Court of Appeals has scheduled the case for disposition on May 2nd, 2017 in St. Croix, but has notified counsel that the case could be moved to May 1st. James, who was arrested in Italy, was accused of defrauding the VI government. He was known for his frequent trips to Italy when he was a senator between 2009 and 2011, and those trips were taken to conduct research on the 1878 fire burn. Well, here's another update to report. A man charged in the 2012 shooting death of Allamulla Elementary School teacher David Payne was exonerated on Thursday, just days before he was set to go to trial. And VI Superior Court Judge Michael Dunstan has dismissed the murder charges against him. Rajesh Maharaj, now 21, was 17 at the time of Payne's murder. Maharaj was arrested and charged with murder, among others, in 2013. The charges against Maharaj were dismissed justice without prejudice. In September 2012, David Payne was on his way home when he was shot several times right at his doorstep. David Payne left behind 4 children, 3 sons and a daughter. The family held a rally and started a reward fund at davidpaynerewardfund.org. Well, in celebration of National Public Health Week, the Virgin Islands Department of Health has scheduled a full week of events. As we shared yesterday, it kicked off with an open house held simultaneously on St. Thomas and St. Croix at the Charles Harwood and the Schneider Regional Medical Center. On Wednesday, the department will be holding a health fair at the CENTENNIAL Shopping Center and at the atrium at Tutu Park Mall in St. Thomas. Displays, giveaways, and free glucose, blood pressure, and cholesterol screenings will be available from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. 9:30 to 1:30, you can expect guest speakers presenting on various health topics. Then from 12 to 1 p.m., the Department of Health is hosting the first ever Healthy Happy Hour, which will consist of a free workout provided by REBOOT CrossFit. One of the Caribbean's biggest celebration of food and wines kicks off this week. We shared that as well yesterday. The 2017 St. Croix Food and Wine Experience features a number of events. And this afternoon, it was the Seafood Sustainably presented by the Nature Conservancy. It's a conservation conversation. That's what they call it. It continues until 7:30 p.m. this evening. On April 5th from 5 p.m. to 11, it's a taste of the town on Company Street, Christiansted. And then April 6th from 6 to 9 p.m. It's the signature event, A Taste of St. Croix, which of course features local chefs, farmers, caterers, wines, rum, and more. Saturday, April 8th, it's the Taste Buds. Children come together to learn and experience a hands-on cooking class led by celebrity and local chefs for children ages 7 to 12, and that will be at the Pearl B. Lawson School from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast comes your way next.
Well, it was just a bit breezy today, and we do have a high pressure system that's kind of lingering over the ocean. That's going to bring us some higher waves and also stronger trade winds over the next couple of hours. Right now, we have some moisture over Puerto Rico, but as far as we're concerned, there's really not much on the radar. For tonight, it's going to be 74 degrees for your overnight low, mainly clear and dry. Taking a look at your forecast for tomorrow, St. John, 84 degrees, partly sunny and a beautiful day, but in St. Thomas, we might see a passing shower. It's going to remain mostly sunny throughout the day, but we could have a little shower move through the area, 84 degrees. Same story in St. Croix, 86 degrees for your high, and we could see a shower, but for the most part, it's going to be sunny and pleasant. Now, your marine forecast for the Atlantic is going to be a small craft advisory in place, and that will remain in place through Thursday because of those higher trade winds. The waves are 5 to 7 feet, and the wind are coming out of the east from 10 to 15 knots. On the Caribbean side, we have waves from 4 to 6 feet and winds coming out of the east from 10 to 15 knots. Looking at the 5-day forecast, we have just a passing shower on Wednesday, but it's going to remain warm, 84 degrees. Thursday, mostly sunny, 84 degrees. And same story on Friday, but we could see a shower in spots. Same thing for Saturday, a shower in spots. And then Sunday night, a cold front moves in, and we will see more potential of rain and showers in the forecast for your Monday. Sandy, back to you.
Thanks for that. Not too bad. Time for our News 2 weather picture there by Negus Cooper of Ricardo Richards Elementary School. This looks like a historic little picture there with the VI emblem with the historic sugar mill in between. Thank you for that, Negus. Send us your News 2 weather picture to the address on the screen. News 2 Innovative Business Center, 4611 Tutu Park, Suite 300, St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, 00802. And that is all for this edition of News 2. We'd like to thank you for joining us for all. But before we go, let's check out News 2 Sports that's coming your way next.
I'm Gary Anthony, and this is News 2 Sports. If you were like me and watched the NCAA Men's Championship game between Gonzaga and North Carolina last night, you saw a game with a great flow in the first half, but in the second half, it reminded me of a 70s disco. I mean, there were whistles everywhere. Gonzaga going for its first title, UNC going for its sixth. First half action, UNC's Joe Barry with the 3 and the foul. Tar Heels down by 4 early. On to the second half. Now check out this hustle play. And Gonzaga big man Karnowski with the bucket and the foul. Gonzaga is up by 3. Then Barry takes over. The deep 3 from the wing. Tar Heels up 1. Barry with another 3 from the wing. Tar Heels up by 2. Desperation time for Gonzaga. Meeks with the block, which leads to the jam by Jackson, and it's good night, Nurse. North Carolina gets its 6th title, 71-65. Joe Barry finishes with 22 points and is named the tournament's most valuable player.
I'm just glad that I was able to do something with this team because I felt like just the personality and what we went through, and I think we just deserved it.
From Phoenix, Arizona to the Caribbean, it's never too late to congratulate excellence. Recently, the Zero Tolerance Basketball All-Stars traveled to Turks and Caicos in the Bahamas to defend their Caribbean Classic title. Now, back in the VI, the All-Stars were victorious, 59-42, with 3 players scoring in double figures. Upon their triumphant return, Coach Boise Todman presents the trophy.
Good day, people. We're here at the Charlotte Marley Gym presenting our championship trophy from our 2nd annual Turks and Caicos Championship to one of our sponsors, Senator Marvin Blyden. This sponsor have been with me throughout many years, and I could call on this man anytime for any need concerning zero tolerance.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you, Boise, for this great honor, in my opinion. I want to say thank you to the Zero Tolerance organization for always being there for our youth, especially our young black males. Many of them, as you know, fall through the cracks, but you guys have been there over the years, for many years. I believe over 20 years, Boise?
Over 20 years.
Over 20 years, and I must say, anything positive, I want to be a part of.
And finally, congratulations to Hall of Famer and arguably the greatest New York Knick ever, Patrick Ewing, who was named the new head basketball coach at Georgetown University, his alma mater. Well, that's it for sports. Sandy, back to you.
Gary, thanks for those awesome highlights. And that's all for this edition of News 2. We'd like to thank you for joining us for all the latest. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Have a wonderful evening.